Måske har du kendskab til PD3-eksamen. Du kender de forskellige opgavetyper, du ved hvilke emner man typisk kommer ind på, men ved du egentlig hvad det er, der er forventet af dig som kursist i en PD3-eksamen? I det her kursus, der vil jeg fortælle jer om, hvad det egentlig er, man skal kunne som elev for at bestå og få en god karakter i PD3. Jeg vil gå igennem hver del af eksamen i detalje, fra læseforståelse til skriftlig fremstilling til den mundtlige eksamen. Jeg vil give jer nogle tips og tricks, I kan bruge i selve eksamenssituationen. Og derudover vil jeg give jer en handlingsplan, som I kan følge i ugerne og månederne op til eksamen. Den her video er en del af et bredere PD3-kursus, som jeg vil linke til i beskrivelsen. Kurset er betalt, og de første 30 dage er der en halv pris discount på kurset. Husk at like og subscribe, det hjælper kanalen rigtig meget. Tusind tak for at se med. So in this introductory video, I want to give you 7 different tips that you can use for the course. So the first thing you must do when preparing for the PD3 is that you must keep a journal. I call this the email journal. And what I want you to do is to find someone or just to write an email to yourself where you write about what you've been doing for the past day and what you're going to be doing in the next coming day or days. I call this the email diary, or in Danish, email dagbog. If you really want to do good in PD3, it's important that you do some Danish every day. And this is the most frictionless way to do it. I recommend using 5 minutes every day on the email journal. The next thing that is very important for the PD3 exam is talking. This is actually a thing I recommend for all my students, not just those following the PD3, and that is to call a customer service. I will put a phone number here, and this is the telephone number for a Danish newspaper. The name of the newspaper is Information, or in Danish, Information. I suggest that you call this number and, of course, in Danish, explain to them that you're interested in a subscription to their magazine. I suggest that you tell them something like, jeg er meget interesseret i amerikansk politik, jeg er meget interesseret i Donald Trump, or jeg er meget interesseret i dansk politik. I suggest that you ask them a couple of questions like, hvad koster et abonnement? Kan jeg få en prøveperiode? Can I få en prøveperiode means, can I get a free trial? Calling a customer service will ensure that you feel comfortable speaking in Danish, and you can think of it as a litmus test for your level. The next thing I will suggest is private lessons. And this is only something that you, of course, can do if you have the opportunity to do it financially. I would, however, really recommend to book a couple of private lessons with a Danish teacher. This doesn't, of course, have to be with me. The important thing is that you find someone that you can practice a little bit with, maybe once or twice a week in the weeks leading up to the test. If you're not in a position right now to hire a private teacher, I would suggest trying to find someone you can do a language exchange with. There are probably more people out there who want to learn your language than you're aware of. I recommend to contact institutions like nursing homes to find such talking partners. The next tip is to do previous tests from the PD3s. This will be available in the course material. The next thing I will recommend is thinking about everyday topics in Danish. Try to compile a list of your own. This can be anything from hospitals to børnehaver, that is kindergarten, skole, arbejde, and so on. Write down all the words you know that pertain to this topic. This will be explored in further detail in the course. The next thing I would recommend is writing down idioms and common sayings. This we will also explore in the course, but for now I would suggest going to the Danish dictionary, and I will put a link here so you can see what the link is. Now this website should be your best friend for the PD3 exam. The website is also in Danish, so it's good for you to engage fully with the language in that way, but of course I would recommend also having an English-Danish and a Danish-English dictionary besides that, or whatever language you're the most comfortable in. The last tip I will give you is listening to the news. And I will also put down some text here, and this text you should just Google. So this is called TVA Live, and it's basically a 24/7 news stream from Danish radio. This can help you a lot, but however, I would recommend this for the more advanced students. That is, the ones who are perhaps hoping to get a 10 or a 12 on the exam. In the course, I will also give you a checklist of things that you have to remember for the test. I will give you a test overview from the written to the oral parts. I will also give you a principal verb list, which you can actually bring for the exam for certain parts. I will be going through the reading part, læseforståelse 1, in detail, as well as læseforståelse 2, 2A, and 2B. And of course, delprøve 3. I'll be going over the email part and some essential sentences that you have to use. I will also be showing you guys how to write the statistics part, and I will also show you how to get a good grade on the other essay form. Lastly, I will be discussing the oral exam and how you can nail this situation. I will be showing you the questions that we as Danish teachers have to ask you in the exam situation. I would also recommend this video where I discuss the PD2 oral exam, especially if you just came from that test, for general tips about the exam situation. Here I will also show you some general sentences that you can use both for the oral and the written exam. Lastly, I will be showing you some general vocabulary that is essential for you to have in the PD3 exam. So the PD3 exam differs from the PD2 exam in two main ways. The first way that the PD3 exam differs from the PD2 exam is that in the PD2 exam, you're required to give your opinion. However, in the PD3 exam, you're required to give a qualified opinion. Now, what is the difference? The difference is that in a qualified opinion, you have to be able to say on the one hand and on the other hand. In Danish, this is of course på den ene side and på den anden side. The other way that PD3 really differs from the PD2 is there is a bunch of small words that you're expected to know in the PD3 exam. These words can have many different grammatical names, such as prepositions or connecting words and so on. And that doesn't matter so much. It's not an exam in grammar, but it is important that you know all of these little words. I will, of course, be going over all of these words in the course. I will also be showing you how to do the presentation, your oral presentation, and what questions they will likely ask depending on your topic. Here I will also discuss what questions they have to ask you in general. Of course, I will also discuss the picture part, as it's called, where we have different pictures for the oral exam. And in this part, I will be talking about how it kind of differs from the PD2, what kind of questions they will ask, and so on. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Tusind tak for at se med, and I really hope that you're gonna follow the course. In the course, the first 30 days will be half price, and good luck to everyone. If you begin to study around half a year before, that should give you a good timeline, but remember to be consistent. Also, the most important tip is to do a bit of Danish every day. This is much better than doing 3 hours on a Sunday. Danish is kind of like sleep. It works in the way that you have to do it every day. You can't simply sleep 20 hours on Sunday and not sleep the rest of the week. And it's the same with Danish learning. Tusind tak for at se med, og jeg glæder mig til at se jer til næste video.